We are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations help those generations to learn where they came from, who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments of their ancestors. We've all seen the commercials on TV where you buy a kit, spit into the plastic tube, and receive a few morsels of information that need a lot more connecting of the family dots. Instead, how about hiring a true professional to help you find out your true full family history? Dan Nelson is the resident historian of Live Your True Life Perspectives, a professional who does more than looking you up on the internet and compiling those small bits of history. He travels the country doing research about things your family deserve to know. Check out Dan's website. Go to dancestorsgenealogy.com. That's www.dancestors genealogy.com. And give the gift of your family history to your family today.
You're in a good place now. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. We have a great show for you today, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. It's going to be jam-packed today. We're going to be talking about emotions. We're going to be talking about dealing with emotions, understanding mindfulness, what that is, reframing our thoughts, building awareness, and the list goes on. And you know that you've heard me here in the show talking about mindfulness. You've heard me talking about, being able to deal and process with our emotions. And, a lot of times we think of this as only something that adults need to do. We think about it only as something that we need to do when we get to a certain age in our life. And that's just not true. I know that many of us look back in our childhood and wish that we had learned things. Well, maybe wish that we had been taught things at an early age. Many of us have grappled with having to learn things on our own and having to put it all together. Even the best parents out there only knew what they knew and could only teach what they knew. And it's interesting because as I work with clients all over the world, many people have gone through either extreme situations in family dynamics or not so extreme, but they didn't really understand how to process those emotions. They didn't understand the tools of actions needed to understand what's going on in our mind, what are our thoughts, the concept that our thoughts are not us, how to prime the brain, and much more. And so I thought it would be perfect to have two wonderful people that I think are amazing that just created a new workbook. It's the Joy Sun Bear, Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feeling Workbook. And it's an amazing workbook because it actually helps children to be able to process their emotions. It helps children to understand what mindfulness is. It helps children to really get to know that and to understand what that truly is. And so joining me by phone in studio today is Shearin and John Lee. Shearin, John, great to have you live on Live Your True Life Perspectives. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having us.
Great to have
fantastic.
you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Great to have y'all. This is awesome. Great to have you on the radio show. So first off, when I first opened this workbook, I realized how amazing the content is in it. Tell me a little bit about the muse. Tell me a little bit about where this came from and how this came to fruition.
Well, our inspiration for this book and honestly everything in our lives is our daughter Aaliyah, who's 10 years old. And it was really experiencing COVID and this whole journey through her eyes and seeing how it was affecting her. And so with 2020 being such a life-changing time for the entire world, bringing so many big changes, overwhelming emotions, and profound loss for us all, I believe one of the things that, we're all trying to process and learn as adults and kids is the loss of, human connection, social interaction, and really the loss of the life that we once had. And, as a parent in particular, it was really hard for us because we had to see our daughter go through that and really digest that and try to understand, what's happening and why is this happening and how long is this going to go. And to not be able to, fix this for her, to protect her, to give her the answers that she needs, because, there's so much uncertainty for all of us. It's so new. It's so huge for everybody. And to feel helpless at times as parents, and so feeling that way ourselves and having a very strong communicative relationship with our daughter since she was young, we knew that, the only thing we could do is, like you said, do your best, and to really start engaging with her and speaking with her about her feelings and trying to understand and explain what was happening. Really let her know that she wasn't alone in all this.
It even kind of caught us by surprise, to be honest, because, 2020 started, and I think we all got caught up in the drama of the change and having to mourn this, shift in our lives. And as parents, we kind of forgot for a second how this was going to be affecting our children too, right? And then, so one day, our daughter's upset, and she says, I'm sad and I don't know why. And so we sat down and started engaging with her in that conversation. And in the process, the light bulb clicked, and we're like, oh, yeah, she's going through this too. She's a person. She's her own experience, And the more Shearin worked with her and I worked with her, Shearin had this bright idea one day, and she comes to me and she says, hey, why don't we take all this stuff that we're doing with Aaliyah and put it into a workbook for kids? And the light bulb went off in my head too, and I said, that's perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I have to credit that to my therapist. I myself have a history of, PTSD, OCD, anxiety, and so this, 2020 was very difficult for me because, dealing with anxiety and OCD, your biggest fear is uncertainty, and 2020 was just highlighting everything unknown in our lives. So for me, my therapist had given me a little worksheet that she had gotten about how to deal with your emotions during COVID for adults. And I started using this for myself, and it was really helping because it really broke down each emotion, and I was able to step back and really be mindful and look at, yeah, I am feeling mad. Why is that? Where is this coming from? Is it also because I'm scared of all that uncertainty? And then that's when, I said, oh my gosh, we need something like this for kids. This would be so helpful, because a lot of times kids can't say what they're feeling in words. They say it through drawing and writing and other means.
Or acting out.
And so that's when I went to my daughter and I said, listen, I have an idea. I think we can help other kids the way we've been helping you. And she, of course, was like, oh my God, yes, let's do this. I want to help. And then we went to my husband, and that's kind of where it went from there.
That's amazing. And so it's great because it all started with trying to figure out, how to help your own child. And I think that one of the things that you said was very inspiring and also very, very thoughtful. I think that a lot of times we as adults think that we have to take everything on. We think that we have to kind of be in charge, and we're not really thinking about how the children in the home or the young adults in the home and how they're processing it. And so when I'm looking through the workbook, it's very interesting. Like you said, they're able to kind of describe and even draw their emotions. When you first saw Aaliyah doing it and probably some of the other children that you kind of probably tested some of this workbook out, did it seem like they kind of came alive and able to even understand or connect a little bit better to their emotions, like immediately by going through some of these exercises?
Yeah, definitely. Aaliyah herself, she's always been an artist. And so for her in particular, like writing and drawing her feelings has been a huge outlet for her, and a way that really gave us an inside look of what she was going through. And so one of the things that really touched me was some feedback I recently got from a teacher and a mom. And she had said that, her family was going through a very difficult day where they were just at each other's throats and stressed about every little thing. And she had just gotten the workbook, and she pulled it out, and she has a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. And she's like, I'm going to use the workbook. I'm going to see if this thing really works. So she brings it out, and our son, it's not easy for him to express his anxiety and depression with words. So he sits down and starts using the emotions pages and starts drawing out how he's feeling. And all of a sudden she notices that he has this smile on his face, and she's going through like what he drew, and she's understanding his anxiety and what he's feeling. And then her daughter was having a meltdown, And, so she hands her the workbook and goes to the body scan page. And so her daughter, sits there and feels her body and starts drawing what she's feeling. And all of a sudden, she's all calm and she's smiling. And she messages me. She's like, oh, my God, this is the most amazing thing. This needs to be in every family's home, especially right now. Like, our family went from at each other's throats to smiling and laughing and creating together. Mm-hmm. And that showed us, like, this is something that can help so many people. And, we did the right thing by pouring our hearts out into this.
That's amazing. And, the interesting thing, too, is that I think that this applies to all of us. Everybody that's out there listening, anybody that's dealt with anxiety, PTSD, OCD, the list goes on, depression. Even if you don't feel like you have dealt with that to that extreme, at the same time, it's like when we're able to put our finger on the pulse of how we're feeling, if we're able to be mindful of it, because most of the time, our thoughts are racing, it causes more anxiety, it causes more stress, we're unable to really pinpoint how we feel. And that's why I love when you go through the workbook, we have the whole concepts of understanding the emotions. We have the concept of, reframing thoughts and building that awareness. And then you kind of go into the breathing concepts and the mindfulness. And I think it's genius, because in order for anybody to understand their emotions, they have to be aware of it. And so, by putting that there, how is it that you kind of frame the mindfulness component in the workbook?
I think just making use of all of our own experiences and all of the time that we've spent being introspective and trying to be self-aware. For kids, a lot of times they get wrapped up from their own perspective, just like any of us do. But they have, less life to compare what they're experiencing to. So a lot of times their emotions can feel significantly overwhelming. We have several pages in this workbook that focus on kind of a disassociative perspective, distancing themselves from the experience, right? So, for example, there's a page after each section where the characters in the book talk to the reader, and they let them know how they're feeling about COVID. And deep end of each emotional section, so it gives the reader an opportunity to take what they've learned and what they've practiced and kind of talk to these characters as if they were talking to a best friend. And it sets them apart from the experience a little bit and gives them a chance to practice that objective kind of mindful awareness.
I love that, and because I think that is the exact direction of where we need to go. And I feel like when I've been working with my clients, everybody that I work with is over a certain age, and it's interesting how the one thing that I hear from all of them to some degree is, gosh, if I would have had this information before, if I would have known that I'm not my thoughts, and if I would have known that my environment was not me and that I could work through that, I might not be where I am now. And that's why I love what you're doing, because you're going to the core, you're going to the source right now and trying to help them at an early age. Yeah,
one of the pages we have is joy floating in a hot air balloon in the sky, and we describe to the reader, imagine yourself sitting in a hot air balloon floating to the sky, and your thoughts are clouds. That's just one example, but it's hard for even adults sometimes to wrap their mind around you are not your thoughts, and separating yourself from your thoughts, and how those turn into actions, right? You mentioned earlier too in the program about how a lot of your patients wish they knew these things when they were younger, and it reminds me of something I came across the other day. So many people who are in there are only in therapy because of people in their lives who won't go to therapy, and just building that emotional awareness across as many people as possible can only help.
That's so powerful. And we'll be right back. We'll be talking more with Shearin and John Lee, the creators of the Big Changes, New Adventures, the Joy Sun Bear. This is great. If you have children that need some help and that need to be able to talk out their feelings and thoughts, we got to do this. This is the time. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about mindfulness, emotions, and the list goes on. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 2 shakes. We are all striving to live our true.
Hi, my name is Reginald Harvey, and I'm a wellness champion. Self-determinance is my preferred way of living whenever possible. But life just throws challenges in our path that don't fit our personal plans. How do you bridge these life road bumps? I just published the medical memoir Anatomy of a Patient as a journal of my battle with the life-threatening illness, stage 4 renal failure. I have learned that disease is just the clinical definition of the sickness, whereas illness is how we choose to live with it. In my case, I immediately had to decide whether to run and hide and wait to die, or to dare to live. No, dare to thrive. Join me in a conversation that few are willing to have. You can hear me on Live Your True Life Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. For more information, go to reggieharvey.net. That's REGGIE Harvey.net.
Money, 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 money. You gotta have it. When you need it, what do? If you don't have a rich uncle, call Lending Tree. With us, hundreds of banks compete for your business, so you'll get loans with competitive interest rates, and in some cases, with no closing costs. So here's the deal. If you need money, call us. Do you want to refinance your current loan? Are you 62 or older and interested in a reverse mortgage? Then call Lending Tree now. 800-634-1315, 800-634-1315. We've closed over $250 billion in loans. We know what we're doing and can help you. Call right now for a free quote. 800-634-1315, 800-634-1315, 800-634-1315. That's 800-634-1315. NMLS number 1136.
Hi, my name is Reginald Harvey, and I'm a wellness champion. Self-determinance is my preferred way of living whenever possible. But life just throws challenges in our path that don't fit our personal plans. How do you bridge these life road bumps? I just published the medical memoir Anatomy of a Patient as a journal of my battle with the life-threatening illness, stage 4 renal failure. I have learned that disease is just the clinical definition of the sickness, whereas illness is how we choose to live with it. In my case, I immediately had to decide whether to run and hide and wait to die, or to dare to live. No, dare to thrive. Join me in a conversation that few are willing to have. You can hear me on Live Your True Life Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. For more information, go to reggieharvey.net. That's REGGIE Harvey.net.
Why is it not up there? We set it up. I don't want to change anything and something like go amok. It was all set up. Yep. What do you think's going on?
Get in here. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. On today's show, we're talking with Shearin and John Lee, the creators of Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feeling Workbook. And right before the break, if you're just tuning in, we began to talk about mindfulness, and we were talking about the concepts of that and how that really helps not only adults, obviously, but children. And one of the things I wanted to talk with y'all about, right now is about rewiring the brain, and I know that we all love Dr. Joe Dispenza, And I see that that's also part of the workbook as well. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So in our book, we have a section called Emotions Check-In, and we have this after each emotion. So it's something repetitive that the children can do to really check in with themselves and, have that love and respect for themselves and see where they're at. And in that section, we have a area where they can draw themselves with how they feel currently, and then they can go ahead and draw themselves how they want to feel. So if they're feeling sad or angry, something that's uncomfortable for them, but they want to feel happy and excited and silly, they can go ahead and draw themselves in the state they want to be in. And then in turn, we ask them, write 3 things that this you does, which is something we picked up, or me personally on my journey with learning about Joe Dispenza and Rewiring Your Brain, is really, not only thinking new thoughts and where you want to be and manifesting it, but also feeling those feelings that you would feel if you were living that life. And that's what really changes your brain is, you're putting that energy out there and saying, yeah, I want to feel happy, and this is what I would actually feel, and really feel that gratitude and that love and that joy in your heart. And that in turn shows your body and your brain that you are actually in that state. And so we do that in a very simple way for kids as well to practice that. I think it's something that really benefits them through their life.
And if it doesn't, if nothing else, the 3 things that they quote this you, and there's an arrow on the page pointing to the way that they want to feel picture. It gives them some action too, right? If they want to be happy, they can write down 3 things that this you does. Well, they smile, they laugh, they play with their dog, right? Gives them some actions that they can take. And this emotions check-in, as Shearin said, being repetitive in the book, also is there to kind of help build that habit, from one day to the next. Can we stop? And if we're starting to feel overwhelmed, well, why am I feeling overwhelmed? What is it that's overwhelming you?
Yeah, maybe I need a break. I need some self-care, Something we could all, I think, do better on in a lot of ways.
That's so true. And this applies to everyone. And I'm just so glad that Shearin and John have created this because, when you think about it, when I'm working with clients, it's constant to remind someone. And that's what's so great about what you just said is that, with children as well, we have to remind them of the things that they can do to feel happy, the things that they can do to feel comfortable, better yet, the things that they can do to feel powerful instead of powerless.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Especially right now. Well, there's so much uncertainty, and we all feel powerless in many ways.
That's so true. It's so true. And I think everybody that's out there listening to the show, if you're going through stress and anxiety, I'm looking at the chat right now on social media. If you're online, if you're not listening on the radio or 1160 AM or USA Radio Networks or out of Westwood One, if you're not listening through here, if you're also watching maybe on social media right now, we're on YouTube under Ashley Burgess. We're also on Facebook as well. And, the thing is that many of you are commenting right now about how you have been stressed, how you have had scary thoughts, how your children have not been in school for a long, long time, and how the family is stressed out. And I see it and I understand. And that's why I had to have these folks on the show because they're trying to help exactly that situation because we can only help as much as we can, but everybody has to be at that same level. One person's having a meltdown, it's going to impact everybody. And so right now, more than ever, when children can't go to school, think about the stress level that they're feeling because they want to see their friends too. They miss them. They miss their routine. And that's why this is going to help. So when we return, we're going to be talking to Shearin and John about a lot more stuff. We have so much more to cover. And an hour goes so fast, but we're going to get as much as we can done today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be great. So everybody hang on, stay tuned with us. Come right back. We got a lot more to talk about. Okay. You don't want to miss this because this is impactful. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 2 shakes. We are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations help those generations to learn where they came from, who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments of their ancestors. We've all seen the commercials on TV where you buy a kit, spit into the plastic tube, and receive a few morsels of information that need a lot more connecting of the family dots. Instead, how about hiring a true professional to help you find out your true, full family history? Dan Nelson is the resident historian of Live Your True Life Perspectives, a professional who does more than looking you up on the internet and compiling those small bits of history. He travels the country doing research about things your family deserve to know. Check out Dan's website. Go to dancestorsgenealogy.com. That's www.dancestorsgenealogy.com. genealogy.com and give the gift of your family history to your family today.
USA Radio News with Wendy King.
President Biden says he's willing to move his $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package regardless of whether Republicans support it or not.
I support passing COVID relief with support from Republicans if we can get it, but the COVID relief has to pass. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Republican lawmakers are saying the price tag is just too high. They also think it's an end run on bailing out cash-strapped state and local governments. If you ride some form of public transportation, the CDC has now put out a requirement that you have to wear a mask. The sweeping order covers most types of transportation, including airplanes, buses, taxis, and ride shares. You also have to wear the mask at the transportation hub. The CDC stopped short of making it a federal violation to not wear a mask. This is USA Radio News.
Rockstar Radio. Did you know this station, this network, is looking for their next rock star broadcaster? That's right, we are. And it could be you. It could be you interviewing the guests, talking to the newsmakers right in the middle of everything. Have you ever dreamed of being a rock star show host? Now could be your chance. Together with this station, we'll help you with everything you need. The studios, the equipment, your own producer, a co-host if you'd like, and so much more. Broadcasting is changing. There's never been a need for fresh voices and unique opinions like there is right now. You can do this. Our professional team will guide you every step of the way. Sound effects, show content, building your social network media, and everything you need to be the next rockstar broadcaster. Get all the details. Email bill@rockstar.today. That's bill@rockstar.today to get started with your own show. Email bill@rockstar.today. That's bill@rockstar.today. Don't wait. You could be the next voice for America. Email bill@rockstar.today.
We are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations help those generations to learn where they came from, who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments of their ancestors. We've all seen the commercials on TV where you buy a kit, spit into the plastic tube, and receive a few morsels of information that need a lot more connecting of the family dots. Instead, how about hiring a true professional to help you find out your true full family history? Dan Nelson is the resident historian of Live Your True Life Perspectives, a professional who does more than looking you up on the internet and compiling those small bits of history. He travels the country doing research about things your family deserve to know. Check out Dan's website. Go to dancestorsgenealogy.com. That's www.dancestors genealogy.com and give the gift of your family history to your family today.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
800-871-3291. 800-871-3291. Again, that's 800-871-3291.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives. Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. We have a great show for you today. We're continuing our conversation with Shearin and John Lee. And Shearin and John just recently created the Joy Sun Bear Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feeling Workbook. And I wanted to dive into, because I actually created a video that's going to be coming out tomorrow on YouTube about anger. And I find that anger is a real major go-to emotion. For what I feel it is, it's the cover-up emotion. And when I look into the workbook on page 53, you have a concept of understanding mad. Where do mad feelings come from? What are you trying to understand when you feel mad? And right next door to that page is the Anger Volcano. Can we let's address this, because I think this is really powerful, because a lot of times, when we're growing up, anger is our go-to emotion, and that's all we know, even though there's fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, everything underneath that. So how do you present this to our children in this workbook?
Thank you, Ashley. That's a very important topic in this book. The Anger Volcano came about because a lot of times when a child it becomes upset, blows up, has a tantrum, a lot of times our first instinct is to think, oh, it's because of the last thing that happened, right? They spilled the milk, a toy broke, their sibling pushed them, whatever, and they blow up about that one thing. But so often there's a lot of underlying other situations that have built up in this anger. And so the Anger Volcano is there to say, you're about to explode, but why? List everything that's bothering you inside this volcano, and kind of understand why, you're building up to this emotional state. And you mentioned anger as a cover-up emotion, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of times we go to anger instead of feeling what else we might feel, like sadness or scared or whatnot, because we feel out of control, and being out of control leads to that feeling of anger. So we actually have a page 2 on 63 of Is Your Mad a Mask? You can write down, there's a series of masks on this page, and the idea is, okay, I have this angry feeling, but what might it be masking? I'm angry that my dog died. No, I'm sad that my dog died, and I'm angry because I can't do anything about it. Change it.
That's powerful, and that's so true. It's like, I'm angry that the dog died, but it's like, no, I'm really sad, and I'm overwhelmed with sadness, but yet, that's what we know, and that's kind of the go-to. And I find that even, many of us adults have a tendency of being mad and being angry, but it's really not that at all. And it's not until we get deep down into that and kind of dig underneath that can we actually begin to process our real emotions. And I think a lot of our society suffers from this right here, no matter what their age is. They get angry and they take it out on people, but what's really happening is they're really suffering down inside and not being able to get to that emotion to really start healing, to be quite honest with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that also comes in acceptance of who you are and your emotions at that time, because when it's what we call a negative emotion like sadness, anger, frustration, a lot of times we feel like we're alone in that. Anxiety especially, it's like, oh, I'm the only one that's anxious. What's wrong with me? Am I not worthy? Am I weak? And we mentioned earlier about my daughter being sad, and that was one of the situations that really inspired us to create a page where, when she was crying, she didn't know why she was crying, and she was judging herself, not even knowing it. She's like, I don't know why I'm so sad. I don't like it. Why don't I not know? Is there something wrong with me? And I remember sitting with her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I do this all the time. I sit here and I judge myself for having these feelings. And I'm not really there to be my own best friend, which is what I always tell her, be your own best friend. So I sat with her and I did that for her. I was that face for her. And I said, you know what? It's okay. I have those moments too where I'm crying and I don't know why. And, especially as a woman, as we know, when we get emotional and hormonal, it can happen, but in general. And, I said, it's okay. You're safe. You're not weird. It's normal. I'm here with you. Give yourself some love. And so we created 2 different pages, especially dealing with sadness, where one is reacting to sad when you do not know why you're sad. And it takes the child through a series of rocks, like they're walking down a rock path. And the first thing it says is, you are okay. What you feel is not wrong and does not mean that there's a problem with you. Because a lot of times, that's what happens. We judge ourselves for what we are feeling, and we expect ourselves and compare ourselves to others. What we see on social media, which we all know is everybody posts all the happy stuff on there, So this is a way for kids to really, when they're feeling those feelings, they don't know why, to follow this rock path and say these things out loud to themselves. I am sad. I do not know why, but I'm okay. Yeah. And give them a chance to kind of go through that. And then we have another page where it's like when they know why they're sad, they can work through it. We have a specific exercise to help them with that and give them things they can do to help themselves feel better.
And it all goes back to one of the central themes of the book, of the workbook, which is, accepting all of the emotions and being okay, loving yourself through all of them, accepting that every emotion is part of our experience in life. Especially our generation, we grew up a lot with, don't be sad, or get over it, or just be happy.
Don't worry.
And that's not realistic.
That's so true. And, the interesting part about that as well is the concept of what you said. We live in a world where many of us feel so isolated. We live in a world where we feel we're the only ones with the problem. We're the only ones with the issue. And it's interesting how I will even come across clients on a daily basis that will pose a question and I'll respond with that. That's normal. That's normal for you to feel that way. It's normal to have these types of emotions. They're like, are you serious? Is this really okay? And it's like, yeah, it's normal, because if you didn't have these emotions, there would be something seriously wrong. And it's interesting. See, that's why I love this, is that we're putting all the cards on the table. We're showing like behind, it's like going behind the wall, going behind whatever the Great Oz, trying to figure out what's going on. And we're actually seeing that and being able to have where kids realize that they're not alone, where they realize that they're okay to have this and that other people have these same feelings as well.
Yeah, and it's really to respect our children, Ashley. Like, our kids aren't stupid. Our kids are smart. They're resilient. They're amazing. And if we just give them that respect and those tools that they need to know that from a young age and feel that empowerment and that confidence and that love, just imagine what they can do for the world, for each other, how much better things would be, and just how much more they'd want to encourage the other people going through hard times and sharing those tools with them. And that's what we want to do. And that's how we've raised our daughter. Is, she's a person. She's going to have her own life, go out in the world and do her thing. And we want to give her everything we can, that she's prepared and confident and knows that she's worthy.
And she lives that too, which is fascinating. One of the great things that we got to see was as Shearin and Leah sat down to start, sketching out this book and the ideas, Leah really took it to heart, and she became her classroom cheerleader. They're all online now. She's been online for nearly a year now, doing remote schooling. But she goes into class, she goes into the classroom chat, and she posts, positive affirmations. She says, "Hey guys, I know everything's hard, but try to look on the bright side, or if you need a friend, let me know, blah, blah, blah." And she does this like weekly, and her teacher came to us. She's like, she's our classroom cheerleader, and it was so nice to see the concepts and just the support that's put into this book being lived.
Well, and I asked her, I was like, "Alisa, like what's driving you to do this? I mean, other than the fact that you're an amazing person, we know how much you love to help people." She's like, "Well, I learned it from you guys. I learned it from everything we're doing. Like, I just want to help people. Everyone's sad right now. My friends are going through a lot, and I want to be, I want to be there to help, just like you guys helped me." And just think, like, if we can just do that for each of our children, what they can do for others, and that ripple effect can change the world.
The ripple effect, for sure. And also, I feel like when we work through these types of things, just like if we were working with other adults or other family members that are older, it really it concretes it in for us. It makes it even more tangible, more real, and it also makes us put it into practice constantly. And I feel like if the family's doing it, then the family's working on it together. If everybody's working on it. I do want to connect real quick with the concept. Y'all, in the book, there's the Zen Zone, and we have the meditation, we have the Zen Zone, we're talking about deep breathing. I'd like to talk about that because this is a really good concept on how to calm, how to center. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I love it how you bring up the emotions, we discuss the emotions, they can feel it, they know what they're dealing with. Now we're giving them some tools to actually decompress and actually be able to calm themselves in real time.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed how we worked on the Zen Zone. Basically, at the end of the book, we give them an opportunity to sort of do an interactive meditation. We wanted to translate a guided meditation into the workbook, and it was a little bit challenging at first. But as we sat and thought about it, we said, then we're not going to write out a guided meditation and expect these kids to remember every step. So we turned it into the Zen Zone. And so we basically go through several pages and give them short prompts and then ask them to draw themselves. So first we say, draw yourself as a tree. And then we kind of move on and we talk a little bit, about how if you were not one tree but a whole forest, what plants would you be? What ferns, flowers? So draw yourself as a forest. And then we move up and say, okay, now you're a butterfly, you're flying above this forest. Draw yourself as something that flies. And we give them a chance of very open-ended prompts, an opportunity to really express themselves in that fluid kind of whatever I am is what I am situation.
Yeah, we actually had a friend reach out and said that, they actually, unfortunately, their whole family got COVID, and her daughter was very stressed and scared. So they went and got, the workbook and started working on the Zen Zone. She started drawing herself as a tree, and it just, right away she felt calm. And the mom was in there just drawing the animals with her, and they were thinking, wow, like this is so amazing to think that these animals are, here, needing this tree to just survive, and that we're all one. And it just really got them like in the zone, and calmed them and relaxed them and brought them together as a family during something as stressful as, they just got COVID. So yeah, it's really to let them flow like water and just kind of go with it, and, just really
get out of themselves.
Yeah.
I really like the concept too of the social circle, and this applies to everybody listening. No matter what your age. For some of us, as I've been reading a lot of the conversation here on social media, and I'm totally 100% with y'all. It is for the children. It is also for our inner children as well. So our inner child. So I love the concept of the social circle, being able to look at your social circle and look to who you can speak if you need help. Can you talk more on that?
Yeah, this is actually inspired by the workbook or the little pamphlet that my therapist gave me. It talks about the social circle in there, and especially right now, it being that we can't access our social circle physically, in person, it's a lot harder. So we obviously were like, kids right now are suffering so much because they're isolated and they don't have that social interaction, which is so crucial for their development and for their happiness. So we're like, let's let the kids kind of get a chance to really write down and see who's there to support them. So it's like right there, black and white. They can go take a look at it whenever they need to. Of like, okay, I'm feeling this way. Who can I go talk to? And so we have 3 separate areas. We have the participation circle, the friendship circle, and the close circle. And we explain what each one is to them so they understand, like, my close circle, okay, that's my family, the people I really trust. And then it kind of expands from there. And I think it gives them that, again, that feeling of support and just seeing that they're not alone in all this.
Gives them another tool with which they can respond to their emotions or whatever's going on in their life. When we were working on this, I was reminded by a phrase that I was told when I grew up, which is, don't ask if I trust you, ask me what I trust you with. And that was really a strong part of this, separating out the close circle from the friends and the participation circle really is about identifying who do I trust to talk to my deepest, hardest feelings about versus who do I talk to about my hobby or how I feel about what's going on in the world.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So we have much more to go because I'm going to ask John and Shearin their golden nuggets of thought of what they have later on here in just the next segment, so we can really tie it together and really see, really just connect. Because I think that when we understand not only why they wrote this, but how powerful this is, and also any sort of nuggets of wisdom. It's going to be something that we can definitely bring home and use in our day-to-day life. So stay tuned. We have more to come. We have a little bit more to go. We'll also figure out how you can find the workbook, where you can find it out, and how to get more information on them and the book. So stay tuned. Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time. I'll be back in 2 shakes. We are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations help those generations to learn where they came from, who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments of their ancestors. We've all seen the commercials on TV where you buy a kit, spit into the plastic tube, and receive a few morsels of information that need a lot more connecting of the family dots. Instead, how about hiring a true professional to help you find out your true, full family history? Dan Nelson is the resident historian of Live Your True Life Perspectives, a professional who does more than looking you up on the internet and compiling those small bits of history. He travels the country doing research about things your family deserve to know. Check out Dan's website. Go to dancestorsgenealogy.com. That's www.dancestors genealogy.com. And give the gift of your family history to your family today.
Hi, my name is Reginald Harvey, and I'm a wellness champion. Self-determinance is my preferred way of living whenever possible. But life just throws challenges in our path that don't fit our personal plans. How do you bridge these life road bumps? I just published the medical memoir Anatomy of a Patient as a journal of my battle with the life-threatening illness, stage 4 renal failure. I have learned that disease is just the clinical definition of the sickness, whereas illness is how we choose to live with it. In my case, I immediately had to decide whether to run and hide and wait to die, or to dare to live. No, dare to thrive. Join me in a conversation that few are willing to have. You can hear me on Live Your True Life Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. For more information, go to reggieharvey.net. That's REGGIE Harvey.net.
Posted on YouTube, but apparently we are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations help those generations to learn where they came from, who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments of their ancestors. We've all seen the commercials on TV where you buy a kit, spit into a plastic tube, and receive a few morsels of information that need a lot more connecting of the family dots. Instead, how about hiring a true professional to help you find out your true family history? Dan Nelson is the resident historian of Live Your True Life Perspectives, a professional who does more than looking you up on the internet and compiling bits of history. He travels the country doing research around things that your family deserve to know. Take a moment now and contact Dan at 214-914-3598. That's 214-914-3598, and begin to learn your history today.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. It's been a great show today. I just really love it. The Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feeling Workbook. It's been great. And really connecting with Shearin and John. So now I like to put people on the hot seat, but it's not really the hot seat. I want to ask you, both of you, one golden nugget of just kind of deep thoughts for today to share with our listeners, and then I want to get the information on how to be able to find the workbook.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I would definitely say that this is a book about wholeness and about accepting all the emotions into our lives and loving ourselves without judgment. So often we are given the impression that if we're not happy, if something's wrong with us, that this is simply not true, though. Like, we need to have the freedom to experience without judgment whatever we feel. And by learning to accept everything we feel, will improve our sense of self-respect and love. And that's like one of the first messages that we include in our notebook, in our workbook, is that really acceptance of the whole you and everything that you're experiencing.
That's powerful. John, what about you?
So I think that creating this workbook was really a family project. You know, Shearin came up with the idea. Leah participated. You know, I helped with the illustrations and some of the writing inside. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Blanca Carranza, our co-founder of Joy Summer, the creator of the character. You know, she welcomed this project into the Joy Summer world with open arms, and being able to use the characters that were from the Joy Summer world and the book series really allowed us to include some friends for the reader along the way, right? And this was a family project, and we hope that whenever possible, using it will be a family project too. We want to encourage adults and children, whole families whenever possible, to go through this workbook together. It focuses on COVID, but the techniques and the exercises inside are timeless. You know, if parents or guardians work with the content with their kids, or at least review what their kids did with the activities inside, it'll go far in improving their communication and building trust in an emotionally, healthier environment.
I think that's amazing, and that's the thing, is that it's, yes, it is around COVID, and we are going through this process, but it's so much more than that. This is definitely an evergreen, knowledge book for children all over to be able to use to not only to process this, and I think also it might even help some folks just with their inner child to really work with that work too. And then I think it could be really powerful for children and adults together to work on this together, because I think this would really help one another and also be able to see each other, for who we are authentically. And so I know that y'all have multiple ways of finding you, and I know that your official website is joysunbear.com. So it's joysunbear.com. So where do we find the book on Amazon?
So on Amazon, it's simple. You just search for Joy Sunbear, and it'll come up, or you can search for the title, Big Changes, New Adventures, the COVID Feelings Workbook. We are self-published through KDP on Amazon.
And also, I want to add, too, that I know that y'all are wanting to work for these schools or larger organizations. If anybody is interested, schools or larger organizations interested in ordering the workbook in bulk, they can contact y'all directly at info@joysunbear.com. So that's info@joysunbear.com. I think this has been an amazing show with amazing people doing amazing stuff. And this is where we're at, is that we're trying to help every single person, every single soul on this planet be able to live to their highest potential, being able to live their true life, being able to be true, authentic, understanding. And the only way that we can be authentic is to be mindful and to be able to connect with our emotions to understand ourselves. Shearin, John, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Ashley. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for everything you do and for having us. And we really hope this can help as many families as possible.
I think it will. And I appreciate y'all coming on. I look forward to having you on in the future. And for everybody that's listening, thank you for tuning in. Remember, we will be back next Saturday, 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can find us around the country on AM radio. And in the meantime, it's up to you to be mindful, to focus, and to open up yourself to being able to accept yourself and finding that unconditional love that matters so much. To be able to accept ourselves and to be able to love ourselves and to love other people around us. It starts with us. We have to start with us first. So I look forward to seeing everybody next Saturday. If you need any more information on the show, go to ashleyburgess.com. You can find us on YouTube as well. And Live Your True Life Perspectives with me, your host, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 3 shakes. We are all striving to live our true life, and part of living our true life is learning about our past. Passing knowledge and family history down to the next generations, help those generations to learn Brittany, where I'm they going to came jump off from, real quick. Who they're related to, and to learn about the accomplishments. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. We thought that we were broadcasting as well on Facebook, and it said that we were, and it wasn't. Ha ha ha. All 4 pages on Facebook. Don't know how that went down today. Anyway, just happy to be on YouTube and happy to connect with everybody that is listening and connecting. Let me go through it real quick. Moseem, great to hear from you in New York. Nahad, great to hear from you as well. Veronica, thank you for tuning in from Flower Mound. David, great to see you. Emery family in Boston, great to have you here. Susie, howdy to you. Naz, great to see you. Eiffel Tower, bonjour, good to see you. It's interesting because everybody comes, with their thoughts and their ideas, and we're all dealing with this. It's not just a children's issue. This is an inner child issue. This is a big deal. And a lot of your comments, Susie, thank you for your comments. Eiffel Tower, Emery family, thank you for your comments. This is what we're going through. Veronica, as a teacher, very common. You hear about the kids are bored, they're unmotivated. Let's see, a boiled hot dog water. Gotta love that. That's awesome. Hello, how are you doing? Great to hear from you. Thumbs up. Okay, John, great to hear from you. How to deal with repetitive thoughts. Yeah, that's a big one. And our thoughts are not us. Our thoughts are separate. And a lot of times we confuse it that our thoughts are part of us. And then a lot of times our thoughts can get us down the rabbit hole, causing a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. NJNP, great to hear from you. Yes, anger, that's a big thing. The volcano concept I thought was really interesting. Meow, meow, good to hear from you. And I love that concept when you said you're talking about children, but I'm applying this to my inner child, and that is powerful. Our pet, great to hear from you. How are you doing? Maria, great to hear from you. Atlas Moon, yes, great to see you here. And so, it's awesome because, and Eiffel Tower, thank you for so many of your comments. Those are amazing. I really appreciate all you tuning in, and I appreciate that we're all on this journey together, and this journey really matters to us. And I know that everybody that's tuned in is really trying to get the most out of your life, and you're trying to be honest, be truthful, be authentic, be mindful. And that's what we have to do to really live in this lifetime, to live instead of being on the sidelines of life, thinking about the past and all the crap and stuff that's happened in the past, or going into the future, going down that rabbit hole, getting really stressed out and really scared. We got to get in the moment. We got to get in the now. And that's something that we have to work on. We have to prime those thoughts. And that's something that I work with clients every day to do, is to prime those thoughts, and let's get through it. I mean, I even work with clients dealing with massive OCD, where we have to actually walk through why do we do this, and be able to slow down and even stop the process of some of this stuff very quickly. But it takes us to be mindful and to control those thoughts and to understand where those thoughts are coming from. But better yet, to understand that those thoughts are not us. A7 exists the shiz. I like that. That was great. Just subscribe. So glad that you subscribed. Thank you so much. Shearin. Oh yeah, Shearin, great to see you. Oh, it's great. There was a great interview today with y'all. So much. It's amazing when you have people on the show like Shearin and John, who really have dedicated their life to helping and being able to be inspired by their child, and having that family dynamic where everybody works on something that betters the world is pretty cool stuff, right? And so it's been a pleasure having them on the podcast. If you can always go back here and obviously watch this, but the podcast will be up next week at some point, and look forward to having John and Shearin back on the show, because I think that they are a powerful voice. And so go to Amazon, check out the workbook, go get the workbook. You can get it right there. You can look up on Amazon Big Changes, New Adventures, or you can also look at Joy Sunbear, and also you can check out their website at joysunbear.com. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place. We might be on Facebook, I hope. I don't know, but guess what? We're here on YouTube, so that's all that matters. But in the meantime, I have another video coming out on anger, basically how it masks other emotions, some of the stuff we were talking about today. So that should go up. I'll either put it out tonight, maybe Sunday. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I need to start getting back on schedule. I used to put out everything on Wednesdays on those videos, and I just haven't done it. But we will get back on schedule. Maybe if y'all have whatever you think is the best date, might be good as well. Dan, great to hear from you. Thank you so much. And you do know me very well, so I appreciate that comment too. Just wonderful times here. And, if y'all want any more information on them, you can also check them out on Facebook. Go to Joy Sunbear. They're also on Twitter and Instagram, all under Joy Sunbear. And I've actually followed them here on YouTube, Joy Sunbear. So check it out. I love it. It's great. I mean, this is a great workbook. I mean, I think it's great. This is the cover of it. This is what it looks like. So that's what you're looking for. And in the meantime, just remember, it's all about us connecting with ourselves. It's about inspiring ourselves. It's about being true to ourselves. It's about loving ourselves, because the only purpose we're here for is to find unconditional love for ourselves. Everything else is peripheral. Everything else is extra. So I look forward to seeing y'all next week. If you have any comments or would like to put out some comments on thoughts on subject matters and shows, please put that in the comments in the chat section here or in the comments section. Also, you can always reach out to me. Just go to ashleyburgess.com. Ashley Burgess, BERGES.com. Just click on that contact page and you can send me an email. It'll come straight to me privately and I will respond to you ASAP. Great show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Y'all are amazing. Have a great weekend. Take care. Love you.